so. We're back this Saturday, Rangers versus St Johnstone. We've had a lot to stew on over the international break after that last performance. Where are we? Where are we? We're early on in the season, but man, we're already in what seems to be a crisis.
I was fucking sitting in Lanzarote, sweating my fucking pan in, walking for fucking miles, trying to find somewhere to watch Old Firm to sit down and watch that.
Miserable. A miserable, deject performance, to say the least. One of the least charismatic and passionate performances I've seen for a Rangers team in a long, long while.
Well, that's the thing, right?
It was completely flat.
It was flat, but again, it's the same mistake we've made time and time again in our Old Firm. Is we've had managers, players come in who, to this day, I still don't think completely get the Old Firm.
No, that's
and
a problem.
When I say that, I mean no in a sense they don't realise the Old Firm's bigger than the day, but there's tactically we always go into an Old Firm now, and Beale's the worst for it, and try and counteract instead of playing towards our strengths and saying here's our way of playing, you try and stop us.
Yeah.
He's coming out, he's overthinking the opposition's strengths and saying, right, well, I'll set a team up to counteract their strengths, and I just don't think it works like that. That's the reason during the game we probably see the team dropping so deep so often, because when you're basically sat there and you're being coached, or you're coaching, let's say you're being coached, and imagine the manager's basically giving you a brief or whatever it is happens before a game, and they say, right, this is what they're good at. They just say what another team's, and I don't know if this is happening. Like, I might be completely wrong, but
it's definitely happening
it's a good
over the
theory,
span of the build up to the game, because obviously they're analysing them tactically. But I get the point that you're gonna go on and make, but I'll say first of all, like, the majority of the fans can go like, shut out Callum McGregor and you've already accomplished 50% of your defensive duties when you're playing against them, because he's their talisman. Everything comes through him, yet we gave him a space that was an absolute criminal amount of space, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He controlled the game in the first half, he dominated it and everything came through him, fair enough, but we never did. Beale or I can't imagine that Beale's told somebody to actually mark him out the game or try and stifle them in that area, because if he did, then the players clearly only playing for him or listening to his instruction, or if he did give that instruction, the players just never followed the instruction.
Well, even still, like, many times that we said that an Old Firm game's won and lost in midfield. Like, it's always won and lost. Every game I can remember, the Old Firm, you could point to the midfield for one team's success and one team's failure. So, and our midfield had such a hard time because we had Raskin, we had
Cantwell, two of our best players who are playing at either side of Jack, probably knowing their most favourable positions, to be honest.
Regardless of who it is that's playing in the two positions in either side, like a central player. With the looks of the game, our two, like left centre mid, right centre mid, were probably seen helping out our full-backs more than they were participating in the actual midfield role. Because when you get two midfielders and they're helping wingers all the time, it means you're completely outnumbered in the middle of the park. Not only is that easier for the opposition to counter you, but at the same time, see, even when we've got possession of the ball, we've got a full back and a central player far back at the pitch trying to link up. We're just constantly trying to play out for the back, and every game I've watched this season, like how many times, and it's been a bad trait of previous teams as well, where we're spending far too much time playing about the back, trying to find a way forward, trying to walk the ball through defences and blah blah. But
I've no seen I thought I was being a bit harsh, like kind of through the pre-season and that, where I never felt a good connection to this team in the sense of they never really showed me very much that convinced me that they were going to do a good job, and was the same as everybody in the sense that it's a revamp, we've brought in all these new players, they're got to take time to gel was our national anthem for the pre-season even to now. But I thought I was being a bit harsh, and I was like, it's pre-season games, they don't mean anything. But I've not seen an improvement in any aspect of their play, other than I would say I think Jack Butland has probably looked like a good quality signing, a good quality keeper. But other than that, I don't see any identity. I don't see any sort of style. We don't even know who our fucking best starting 11 is. We've played 9 separate starting 11s in 9 or 11 games, something like that. It's not looking good, and that's us just after one international break.
That's thing, like, as I said in the previous video, you can't be a manager at either the old firm and not have one, your best starting 11, knowing your best starting 11 as you said, and 2, having a tactical identity that you can impose on each other and impose on the rest of the league. You just can't do it, because if you're going out week in, week out, even against the weird teams, and you're trying to play to nullify their strengths, again, like, you're never going to develop, the players are never ever going to develop an understanding of the way you want to play. And regardless of what is going on in the background and stuff like that, clearly if Beale does have a style of play, an identity in mind, like, the players just aren't getting it, whether he's bought the wrong players or he's spending too much time coaching depending on how other teams play rather than how we should play. It's the only 2 options.
Well, what I was just considering there is you're in a weird predicament as a Rangers manager, because you almost need to approach the Celtic game, you need to approach completely different to you approach every other game. So every other game, you know you're going to be sitting against a team who's dropping deep, defending deep, so you need to try and break that down in a certain style. Then all of a sudden Celtic come to Ibrox, they don't do that, so now you need to adjust your style to play against that, which he clearly never done a good job of. You know, he just, the team was completely lost stylistically and tactically. And then you go for playing a Motherwell who sit deep and you've got constant control of the ball, to play an old firm or playing in Europe. It's like you almost need to have the team set up so they can have 3 different identities, which is certainly not an easy thing to get right, especially when new guys are just in the door. That's not to cut them some slack, because regardless what style you're playing, who the manager is, the players should be better for a quality standpoint as well, in terms of first touches, controlling the ball. I don't care what you say, I don't care who your manager is, I don't care. If the ball comes to you and you can't control it as a fucking professional football player, something's gone wrong somewhere. Or you can't pick out a blue shirt when you're on the ball, something's gone wrong somewhere. And that does come for, maybe they are a bit broken down tactically and a bit lost, but come on, I mean, these guys are paid thousands of pounds a week to play for Rangers. Fucking do the basics right. I know it's an old cliched saying, but keep the fucking high balls low.
Well, that's saying, after that, like, the fallout was just fucking is as bad as I've ever seen. Like, even toxic, on Twitter, it was as bad as I've ever seen it, like, reaction wise to a specific
in the stadium. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen the majority of Ibrox boo at a sub. I mean, that's, and I think it's because it was the old firm, but I mean, that is a cataclysmic moment in fucking Rangers history. I would say no for a good reason.
Imagine being Michael Beale in that moment, and you're like, the full stadium, like 50,000 booing.
That's the sort of thing that gets you sacked on the Monday morning. Like, without a doubt.
They thought he was going to get sacked, but
surprised that he's still here after that.
A lot of folk were saying, like, they don't understand where this amount of toxicity's come from, or this level of just fucking complete carnage after a performance. But I think most of the frustration came from two things. It came from, one, the promise of attacking style and identity that Beale gave the fans, and two, it was the fact that all the flaws and problems that we're having now in the team could have been identified in the first pre-season game, and it continued through pre-season games, and then we had a couple of games, one game with Ross County, where we kind of...
I mean, there's been very limited spells where I would say...
Even Ross County, you didn't really know what was what... You couldn't break it down tactically.
No, that's what I mean. I can't see a consistent style of play.
Aye.
You know, whereas if you think of Celtic last season, you knew what they were going to do.
Aye.
I mean, they just came at you in a sort of blistering pace. You know, everything they done was quick and fast, and they were playing fullbacks high on the byline and cutting it back low and hard across the front. And the amount of goals they scored in that manner was outrageous. We still couldn't stop it as well. But then you watch teams like Man City. These teams have an identity. You know what you're going to get, but they're that good at it, and they're that clued up in how it is they're going to play, what it is they're doing, where they need to be.
Yep.
That teams still can't stop it. With me, I think we are one of the most easily readable teams to come up and play against, because you just go, see Tavernier, don't let him get balls into the box. Barisic, don't let him get balls into the box.
Funnel everything down Barisic's side, get early crosses in, because he sits fucking 10 yards off you. And we do give them the credit, because they can whip a ball, an absolutely majestic ball in at times, but fuck me, it's not enough. No.
I mean, that is not enough.
Well, the thing is as well, right, so Tav, I mean, you can't deny Tav's numbers, right? Regardless, if you think he shouldn't be captain, or you think he's a decent player, he makes far too much mistakes, you can't deny Tav's numbers.
For you, should James Tavernier be captain of Rangers?
Aye. I think he should, because I think we have a reasonable enough excuse to strip him for captaincy. Exactly, because who are you going to put as you can't...
Because as much as he's prone to making mistakes, etc, he's no the best defender in the world, right? But who you got to give the captaincy to?
Exactly, there's no there.
I get that you're maybe angry at Tavernier because we've just been beat 1-0 of Celtic at Ibrox. Our performances have been flat, but I mean, who are you reasonably going to suggest? What, Ryan Jack? He's not even going to be on the park all the time. We can't get to the front, boys. They're on you. Kemar Roof's just back in the Butland. He's only just in the door. Barisic is fucking pussy.
Aye.
I mean, this shenanigans that went on with him going down injured, missing the old firm, then coming. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying.
John Suter, he's again too injury prone.
And basically just in the door, because he pretty much a new signing. He's been half injured, but that's
so I think it's an unreasonable request to be honest.
See, unless we brought in a highly experienced, quality Rolls Royce, like a Stephen Davis type. Rolls Royce, player, knows the club.
That is who we're missing, by the way. Is somebody to control, be confident on the ball. Stephen Davis has got this innate ability to be where he needs to be at all times. Like, he was just that guy who floated about and was just always where he needed to be. You just get players like that who can read the game so well, and that's really what I thought Raskin was going to kind of step up. I'm not saying fill Davis's boots, but he looked like a similar player, but he's been non-existent for the last number of games as well. Cantwell is obviously no playing in his most favourable position now. Again, I think the two boys have definitely got potential, but there needs to be a big turnaround. I can't say I'm confident going into the St Johnstone game. I'm reasonably confident we'll win, but I don't think it's just about winning for Rangers now, because you pay your season ticket money. People pay their hard-earned cash. They follow Rangers. They'll follow them all through Europe, and they are there to win, but also for entertainment value. You want to see your team playing with their chest out, and putting on a good show, but not at one point this season I thought this has been good to watch. Even some of the games we've won, it's been fucking. You just end up just a bit irritated after the game.
Sour taste. You're like, we won, but you're like, it's just.
It could have been better. That seems to be like always what I think after. Even against Livingston, for instance, we're winning 2-1. We end up winning the game 4-1, and the scoreline actually takes away from how we performed for most of the game. And I don't know if Rangers fans are just too comfortable with just putting victory over performance, because I don't see it like that. I see it as that performance should come first, because ultimately if you perform to the highest standards you're capable of, the victory is going to follow from that. You can't take victory almost at all costs at the negation of performance, because then you end up in the sort of situation we're in where Celtic come to Ibrox, and I don't know if Beale's went like, I'm going to try this and sort of stifle them out of the game, and then I don't know what he was trying, but almost no thinking about performance, but just thinking, what do we need to do to stop them so we can try and win? And that's my mentality in terms of how I would want my team to play, is to defend via attack. You know what I mean? I know that's in an ideal world, it can't be the case every game, but us as Rangers, we should be able to do that against the majority of teams in the SPFL, and then when they come to our home park, we should absolutely be able to take the game to them, and no put up with that as Rangers fans, man.
So after all that, the outrage to that extent, how do you even go about, if you're Michael Beale, how do you even go about trying to turn it?
Well, he needs to win. For here to the next international break, he must win all games. I mean, we're already a 4-point deficit. I mean, we could have, and Michael Beale come out, put his neck in the line and said the pre-match press conference before the Old Firm, like, we can go into the international break top of the league. Look at us now. I mean, we're trailing by 4 points. Like, what was the gap last season? There's never a massive gap between Rangers and Celtics. There's no much opportunity. You expect both teams to slip up throughout the season, but we've lost on the opening day, and we've lost the first Old Firm at Ibrox, and I'm pretty sure I seen a stat that said the team who won the first Old Firm has never lost the league in something like 10 years, or they've won something like 8 out of the last 10. Whatever that stat was, it didn't look good. Because we were on the receiving end of the fucking beating.
And as you said, he's got to put a run of wins together, but I don't even think just winning games are enough. It wouldn't be enough for me, because we could easily just go out and play how we're playing and scrape wins, or
but then what happens to you in Europe, or when we need to go to Celtic Park? And another thing as well, I think that made really was a massive cause for concern, mate. Their team was depleted. They were never even had their star player playing, like, who's been immense for them, to be quite honest, and the most recent Old Firm's Carter Vickers at the back. They had a makeshift defence, and we decided to come out and not even take the game to them. I think just it was a recipe, a number of things that really fucking riled the fans up and caused them to boo a substitution.
Well, the thing is that, again, it mainly comes down to, I think, over anything, I think Rangers fans, me personally, you'd love to win every single game of the season, but it's unbelievably rare, and scoop up every trophy, but it's unbelievably rare. All Rangers fans, and me personally as well, would want to see is, I want to watch a game of football and go, I know exactly what we're trying to do there. I like it, and hopefully as the season goes on and this team starts to gel, then we start to see a proper brand of football, and all the players playing like cohesively within that system. Like, no matter what game you go into, you go, we know our system, we know on what day we can beat any team, and then the results follow. But we could easily just go out and play the way we're playing and just end up scraping by as many games as we can. And but at the same time, you want to go to a game, you want to watch a game, even though we get the point, the result. You want to be entertained. You want to enjoy.
You want to also be like, I'm proud of, like, you know, being a Rangers fan, and this is my club, and
this is how we play,
and you do feel like that, right? But the players have they have a duty to, like, elicit the emotions in us.
Aye.
You know what I mean? Like, think about that European run. Think about winning the title a couple of years ago. Like, that's when you're right behind your team and it feels good. But right now it feels flat. And I do hope things will change. Like I say, I'm not... Because, mate, we're literally 2 more draws away for possibly the fucking league banner.
Aye.
And we're not even... We're just into September.
Well, the thing is as well, like, this, if we think the game against Celtic and the game against PSV was big, seeing from Michael Beale's perspective, the St Johnstone game is probably the biggest of his Rangers career so far. Like, it's make or break.
Well, because, I mean, this is... You're taking all the excess pressure that you've just accumulated that for the PSV game and the Celtic game. And now he's getting into a game that everybody would say Rangers should win. We should be winning, but it's also like a must win now as well, which is... It just puts all the pressure on us. It takes a lot of pressure off of Celtic, puts a lot of pressure on us, because now we're going away to St Johnstone, a game that you would never normally be nervous for.
No.
You know, and no disrespect to St Johnstone, but we're expected to go there and to win. But now you've got that added element of, like, we almost need to be flawless for here on in.
Aye, well, 100%. Like, I mean, you'd need to be flawless to challenge for nearly almost flawless to challenge for the title anyway, but never mind having already dropped the points we've dropped. And the thing is as well, it's an annoying common theme with us for the past few years, other than the 55 season, that every time we're battling out for the league and Celtic slip up, see the amount of times we do not capitalise.
But as soon as we slip up, they seem to capitalise.
Aye.
But we can't do it in the reverse scenario.
That's the thing. That's how a lot of the fans were. There's a lot of talk about like players in the base of the team having like a loser's mentality. They're pointing at the likes of Tav, Goldson, Barisic. You know what I mean? That they players that have been with us for a long time, and I mean it's hard to say whether it's down to lose, because they want to win games as much as we want to see them win games. But
I am so
at the same time, like, it's hard to.
Well, put it this way, right, mate? People were going like serial losers and all that, and I was like, right, okay, but they were also part of the team that won the league, won the league and got to the Europa League final. Aye. So I'm like that, and then all the massive criticism that comes on to Tavernier, who, I mean, he's prone for a mistake. He's not the best defender in the world, but what else can the cunt do?
Aye.
I mean, he's scoring absolute fucking worldies. He's like the top goal scorer for. I mean, Tavernier for me is the guy who is taking the game with the scruff of the neck at times, because he's either whipping in a deadly ball that leads to a goal, or he's pinging in. I mean, look at the free kick he scored at Parkhead last year. You know what I mean? An absolute worldie. He's doing as much as he can do. In my regards, he's never got to be a better defender than he is now. You know what I mean? Like, that's him. Push him up to right wing, like I said on Twitter.
The thing is, like, our problem's always been, whenever we play, even all these big games, there's always been a section of the team that's just no lived up to the expectation, whether it's the midfield, whether there's defensive mistakes in there, whether right now where we've got a defensive mistakes and a disjointed like forward line that's always rotating, and there's just a different front. It became a bit too fluid for me. Exactly. How can we expect a front line to gel when, again, Beale doesn't know his starting 11?
This is a major concern for me.
Danilo's getting subbed on, and sometimes it's Lammers, and then Lammers has fell away, and then we've got like Roof coming back, but he's not playing every minute, gets subbed off, like scores a disallowed goal, gets subbed off against Celtic. It's just all other Dessers, it's just all other fucking players.
And it's not that, we're playing that 3 up top with the constant rotate, so they're allowed to rotate. It's almost like you've got three forwards, but they're in a constant rotation, so they've all got like a free role. And I get that modern football has become a bit more like that, but it's not working for us.
No,
it's not working for. I mean, let's just go through.
We just end up with a team full of players that are out of position.
Aye.
And they're really used to being out of position.
And it looks bad, like from an attacking point of view, but also defensively. And I think it fucks up your ability to counter-attack as well.
Aye.
Because, like, I know if I'm, let's say, Barisic, I know who's got to be in the left wing all the time, but what if I look up 1 minute as Danilo, right, I'm like, or for instance, let's go Matondo, right?
Aye.
Matondo wants a ball over the top, he wants it through, he's got pace, but the next minute I look up it's Dessers, so I can't make that split decision, you know, because 1 minute I'm playing the ball to Matondo, the next minute it's Dessers, it's two completely different styles of player, like Dessers probably rather have it into feet. I don't know, man, we need to get a solid starting 11 sorted out, and it needs to be consistent with it. Honestly, if you hear the next international break, I would like to see players have got to get injured, and with Europe as well, you're going to need to rest some players occasionally, but we need a solid bedrock of players that are playing consistently week in, week out, because if we don't, I can honestly see us falling apart, having been sacked,
and then we write another season half. You know what I mean?
And it's brutal, man, because we did come in, and I don't want to sound. I don't know if we're like you're becoming overly concerned and overly critical. Don't want to sound like the season is over right now.
But you just can't see it getting any better.
I wish I could. But we're critical, but I think it's for a good reason, because I do think Beale, he can do a job. There is no doubt about his coaching abilities. I don't think, maybe from a managerial point of view, he might not be the man. It's a big gamble they've took, you know what I mean? But I hope that he can turn it around, and I hope the players can start to show up with victories and with performances that are required for players that pull on that jersey, man, because it's been nowhere near the standards that we expect. Even if it sounds crazy, but sometimes, see if you draw or get beat, but they've gave everything, they've played great football, they've put everything in. It's not just they've put it all into the tackles. They've left a wee bit on Sunday. They've fucking just went that extra mile.
Win on the first ball, but I mean, you just don't see it.
They've got to realise where they are. You know what I mean? They're at Glasgow Rangers. They should be competing for titles and cups, and they should be looking to make a mark in Europe as well. It's big changes need to happen.
So if you enjoy the content, then make sure you subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment as well, and tell us your opinion on what we are talking about, your opinion on the current situation, what you think should Michael Beale do next, what would you do if you were him. Also jump over to Twitter at Beale'S Podcast, and TikTok at Beale'S.podcast. All the links to that are in the bio comments, and we'll see you next time.